What if the fastest way to level up your English was not sitting in a classroom, not memorizing grammar rules, and not watching TV shows with subtitles, but actually going out, rolling up your sleeves, and volunteering? Today on Next Level English, we are going to unpack the real English that happens inside volunteer programs, the phrases people actually say, the chunks that open doors, the sentences that build real relationships. And trust me, by the end of this episode, you are going to sound like you have been volunteering your whole life. Let us get into it.
Welcome back to Next Level English, the podcast where we take English out of the textbook and put it right into your real life. I am Tom.
And I am Maya. And today, Tom, I am so excited about this topic because it is one that people overlook so much when they are thinking about improving their English.
Completely agree. Volunteering is this incredible space where English learners get to practice in a real, pressure-free environment. Nobody is grading you, nobody is correcting your accent. People are just working together, talking, connecting.
Exactly. And the language that shows up in that environment is so natural, so human, and honestly, so useful beyond volunteering too. You will use these chunks and expressions at work, with neighbors, in social situations, everywhere.
So let's start from the very beginning. Imagine it is your first day at a volunteer program. You walk in, what's the first thing that happens?
Someone greets you, right? And here's where the first chunk comes in. Someone is going to say to you, "Welcome on board. Welcome on board." Now, this is a chunk, which means it's a fixed group of words that native speakers use together all the time. Welcome on board. It means you are now part of the team, part of the group.
Welcome on board. And you'll hear this not just in volunteer programs, but in new jobs, new clubs, new teams. It's everywhere. So that's your first chunk to hold on to today. Welcome on board.
And when someone says that to you, what do you say back? This is where a lot of English learners freeze up. They don't know what to respond. And the most natural response is something like, "Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really looking forward to this."
I'm really looking forward to this. That chunk, looking forward to something, means you're excited about it. You feel positive about what's coming. And it sounds so natural, so warm when you say it in a real conversation.
Say it with me one more time. I'm really looking forward to this. Beautiful. Now, imagine you're standing in a room with other volunteers, and someone walks up to you and introduces themselves. They might say something like, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I've been volunteering here for about 2 years." And now they're looking at you, waiting.
And this is your moment. You introduce yourself. A great sentence to use is, "Hi, I'm Maya. This is actually my first time volunteering here, but I'm really eager to get started." I'm really eager to get started. Eager, that word, means you want something with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. You're not just ready, you're eager.
I'm really eager to get started. And notice the phrase, "get started." Get started is another chunk. It means to begin, but it sounds much more natural than just saying begin or start. Get started has a kind of energy to it, like you're ready to move.
I'm really eager to get started. Eager to get started. Keep that one close.
Now, let's move into the actual work of volunteering, because once introductions are done, you have to start communicating with your team. And this is where things get interesting from a language perspective.
Right, so let's say you're at a volunteer program helping at a community food bank. Your team leader comes up and gives you an assignment. They might say something like, "Could you give me a hand with setting up the tables?" Give me a hand.
Oh, that's such a good one. Give me a hand. This doesn't mean literally give your hand. It means help me. Can you help me with something? Give me a hand is one of those chunks that's so casual, so natural, and it shows up constantly in volunteer settings because people are always asking each other for help.
Could you give me a hand with this? Could you give me a hand setting up? And the beautiful thing is you can use it yourself when you need help too. You can walk up to someone and say, "Hey, could you give me a hand over here for a second?" Give me a hand. Say it one more time. Give me a hand.
Perfect. Now, let's talk about something really important. When you're working in a volunteer program, things don't always go perfectly. Plans change, schedules shift, and you need to be able to handle that in English with confidence.
Yes, this is so real. I remember my first time in a situation like that, and I just had no words. Things changed, and I didn't know how to respond in a way that sounded natural.
So here's a sentence that will save you in those moments. When something unexpected happens and you need to show you're flexible and positive, you say, "No worries, I can adapt to that." No worries, I can adapt to that.
No worries, I can adapt to that. Adapt means to adjust, to change yourself to fit a new situation. And no worries is such a warm, casual way to say, it's okay, not a problem. You're telling the person that the change is fine by you.
No worries, I can adapt to that. And this sentence tells people something very important about you. It tells them you're easy to work with. You're a team player. And speaking of team player, that's your next vocabulary word.
Team player. A team player is someone who works well with others, who doesn't make things difficult, who thinks about the group and not just themselves. In a volunteer setting, being described as a team player is one of the best things someone can say about you.
And if someone compliments your work and calls you a team player, you can respond with something like, "Thank you. I really believe in what we are doing here. I really believe in what we are doing here." That sentence shows commitment, it shows heart, and it connects you to the mission of the volunteer program.
I really believe in what we're doing here. That's such a powerful sentence because volunteering isn't just about the tasks, it's about the purpose. And when you can express that in natural English, people feel it.
Okay, Tom, let's move into one of my favorite areas, the language of coordination. When you're volunteering, you're constantly coordinating with people, checking in, giving updates, making sure everyone is on the same page.
On the same page, that's a chunk right there.
Yes, on the same page. Being on the same page with someone means you both understand the situation the same way. You have the same information, you agree on what's happening. So a sentence you use often is, "Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page about the schedule."
Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. And notice the phrase, just wanted to make sure. That phrase softens what you're saying. It makes you sound polite, not bossy, not demanding. Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
This is so important for English learners because a lot of the time it's not just what you say, but how you soften it. Just wanted to make sure, just checking in, just following up. These little phrases carry so much social meaning.
And speaking of checking in, that's another chunk to add to your list. Check in. To check in with someone means to contact them, to see how things are going, to make sure everything is okay. A team leader might say, I'll check in with you around lunchtime. Or you might say to a fellow volunteer, hey, just checking in. How is everything going on your end?
How is everything going on your end? That phrase, on your end, means on your side, in your area, with your part of the work. It's such a natural phrase when you're working in a team.
How is everything going on your end? And when someone asks you that, a great response is, we're making good progress. Should be finished up soon. Making good progress. That means things are moving forward well. You're getting closer to finishing.
Making good progress. Keep that one. And finished up. Not just finished, finished up. That tiny up makes the sentence sound so much more natural. We should be finished up soon. Finished up soon.
I love how much meaning those little words add. English learners often overlook them, but they make such a difference.
They really do. Okay, let us talk about one more situation that comes up a lot in volunteer programs, and that is when you do not understand something, when instructions are not clear, or when you missed something.
This is so important because a lot of English learners feel embarrassed to say they did not understand, and instead they just nod and then they're confused the whole time.
And that is so relatable. But the good news is there are really graceful, professional ways to ask for clarification. One of my favorites is, just to make sure I have this right, are you saying we should sort the donations first and then distribute them?
Just to make sure I've got this right. That phrase is incredible because it doesn't sound like you're saying, I'm confused. It sounds like you are being careful and thorough. Just to make sure I've got this right. Say it again. Just to make sure I've got this right.
Just to make sure I have this right. And then you repeat what you understood and you end with a question. That structure works every single time. It shows you were listening, it shows you care about getting it right, and it gives the other person a chance to correct any misunderstanding.
Another phrase you can use if you truly missed something is, "Sorry, could you walk me through that one more time?" Walk me through it. That chunk means explain it to me step by step. Walk me through it.
Walk me through it. Could you walk me through that one more time? That phrase is used so widely in professional and social settings, not just volunteer programs. Anytime you want someone to explain something slowly and clearly, you say, walk me through it.
Okay, Maya, let's wrap things up with what I think is the most emotionally powerful language in volunteer settings, the language of appreciation and connection.
Oh, yes, because at the end of the day, volunteering is about people, and the language of gratitude and connection is what makes the experience memorable.
So let's say you finish a long day of volunteering. You worked hard, you connected with your team, and now it's time to say goodbye. A beautiful sentence to end the day is, "It was such a rewarding experience working alongside all of you today." Rewarding. That word means it gave you something back. Not money, but a feeling of satisfaction, of meaning.
It was such a rewarding experience working alongside all of you. Alongside, that means together with, side by side. Working alongside someone is working with them, shoulder to shoulder. It's a warm word.
It was such a rewarding experience working alongside all of you. And if you want to add something even more personal, you can say, "I really hope we get to do this again." I really hope we get to do this again. That sentence says you valued the experience and the people. It opens the door to future connection.
I really hope we get to do this again. Now, let's do a quick recap of everything we covered today because we want these chunks and sentences to really stick with you.
Welcome on board. That's your first day greeting chunk.
I'm really looking forward to this, showing excitement and positivity.
I'm really eager to get started. Eager to get started, showing energy and readiness.
Give me a hand, asking someone for help in a casual, natural way.
No worries, I can adopt to that. Showing flexibility and a positive attitude.
Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page, coordinating politely with your team.
How's everything going on your end? Checking in with a colleague naturally.
We're making good progress, should be finished up soon, giving a confident update on your work.
Just to make sure I've got this right. Asking for clarification gracefully.
Could you walk me through that one more time? Asking someone to explain step by step.
It was such a rewarding experience working alongside all of you, closing the day with warmth and connection.
And I really hope we get to do this again, leaving the door open for future connection.
Those are your power chunks for today. Practice each one out loud, see them in the mirror, write them in a notebook. Use them the next time you're in a real situation, volunteer program or not.
Because here's the truth about language learning. You don't learn English by waiting until you're perfect. You learn it by stepping in, trying, and sounding a little more natural every single time.
And volunteer programs are one of the most beautiful places to do exactly that. Real conversations, real people, real purpose.
So, if you've been thinking about joining a volunteer program, maybe this is the sign you needed. You now have the English to do it with confidence.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today on Next Level English. If this episode helped you, share it with a friend who's on the same English learning journey.
And if you want to hear more episodes just like this one, covering real-life English in real situations, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a new episode.
Until next time, keep practicing, keep showing up, and keep taking your English to the next level.
See you in the next one. Take care.